Hi again, everyone. We've got a big game coming up this week in Athens, Georgia, and Arkansas. And who would have thought a few weeks ago this is a top 10 matchup? But here to talk about it today, Eric Zier and DJ Shockley, two former Bulldog greats, and Harry Carey over my shoulder there. Pay no attention to him. Um, Guys, before we talk about Arkansas, let's kind of wrap up Vanderbilt last week. Wow, what a what a performance all the way around. 62 to nothing. Z and Shock, were you guys ever involved at any point in your careers in a blowout game like that? And if so, what was the reaction? How do you handle that kind of thing as a player? Is it fun?
Yeah, I'll jump in and start. I've been involved with games like that, never against an SEC opponent. However, which makes this one, I think, a little bit unique. Vandy obviously not playing like an SEC school right now. They're depleted, and the talent gap is pretty immense. So those blowout games are really the directional schools that you bring in, and really you're just out there taking care of business. I don't know if I would classify it as fun. They're very workmanlike. For sure. The games that are fun is the one that's coming up, against Arkansas and the Clemson game where you've got all the excitement. What was impressive to me is that you have a team that could very easily start reading all of their press clippings. They're going into probably the worst environment in the SEC. It was a noon kick, so early start to the day, and all of those things you can very easily play down to your competition. That's the farthest thing from what this Georgia team did. They came in and they looked very much like the number 2 team in the country, if not the best team in the country, the way that they're playing right now. The test, however, will be much different this weekend.
I'll say this. I've bbeen on kind of both sides of it, is where you're the guy, like you're the starting guy, and you've been a part of blowouts. And I've also been a part of the games where you come in and, you're taking over for a guy and you're going into blowouts. And they're fun to be in, but I feel like those were the games where I got the most mental errors, or I got the most Emmys, or even it might have been just Bobo, who was our, quarterback's coach at the time, was just trying to make it hard on us. So he just was making up stuff that we had to work
That's exactly
on.
what he was doing.
To make it seem like we had a great game. But just to give the fans kind of a kind of behind the scenes look, I get the chance to go in the locker room during halftime and after the game. And one thing I know the fans will love to hear from Kirby Smart is he is always reminding those about what Z just said about not reading your press clippings, not letting your ego get too big. And he constantly puts that into their brain about it. We want to be great. We can't let egos get involved. We can't read about how good we are and think we made it. And he constantly puts that in their brain so that, hey, when they have games like this, he makes sure that they're focused and ready to go. But absolute great performance by the Dogs. And when you play against an opponent that you're supposed to beat, and hey, you make them say no moss, that's what you do. And I think the Dogs did that. And I think Kirby continues to, just impress on the minds of these young kids that, yeah, you're doing some great things. Everybody's talking great about you. But at the end of the day, if we want to be a great national championship caliber team, we can't be worried about what's being said about us, and we can't have no egos involved on this team, and we got to go out and play.
Georgia's all about, at least since Kirby Smart has been here, on defense, stopping the run. That's first every time. And that's going to be a big challenge this week. Arkansas likes to run. They have a lot of different weapons to run the football with. What are your thoughts on the challenges of stopping the Arkansas running game this week?
I always concede to the veteran. He got to let the vet go first.
It's going to be a challenge. Under Coach Pittman that this is going to be a well-coached football team. Sam Pittman is a phenomenal leader. He does a great job with his offensive line. He's got some transfers that have come into the program. It's a seasoned, experienced team. And they've got a quarterback that's playing at a pretty high level as well that knows how to navigate within that offense. For Georgia, it will be our sternest test for this defense, especially in the run game. There's no question. If you project forward to what do you really expect? I honestly expect to see, while more challenging, a similar result to what we've seen. I still think that the talent gap that we have between us and between Arkansas, while it's going to be narrowed here from the Vanderbilt game, I still think that gap is pretty wide. I think that we've got a dominant defensive line that, even though going against probably the best offensive line we're going to see, is still going to find ways to win and be successful. Throughout this football game, I think we'll come in as well with a number of different looks, a number of different run blitzes, and if anything, force Arkansas to try to beat us throwing the football. But I think we're going to be aggressive and load up the box and go try to hit them in the mouth as much as we can.
And here's one thing I know. After the game last year, I know Kirby wants to put together a better performance. That was the first game of the year. You didn't look the way you wanted to. You wanted to be dominant. You weren't as dominant, especially in that first half, as you wanted to. And with everything that's going on around this ball game, I know Kirby wants to put together a really big performance. Obviously, you got game day there. It's a primetime matchup. It's the top 10 game. There'll be a bunch of recruits there. I mean, this is the perfect environment for you to showcase your school, showcase what Sanford Stadium is about, and you want to put together a good performance. I guarantee you, he's going to have these guys ready and prepared. And the other big part is he knows the guy he's coaching against. He knows him as well as anybody in the country because he was on his own staff in Sam Pittman. And he knows the kind of coach that he is, and he knows he's going to have those guys prepared, and they're going to be physical. Z mentioned it. This is going to be a physical game. But I think Georgia is one of those type of teams that is prepared for a physical matchup and looks for a physical matchup. I think I saw a couple guys earlier this week already talking about they're looking forward to the physicality that this game will bring so that they can show that, hey, we can be just as physical as everybody thinks Arkansas is. So tough running game. The O-line and D-lines in the trenches is going to be a war, but I know they're up to the challenge, and Arkansas provides a couple different things that you got to, prepare for. Obviously, KJ Jefferson is a big old dude, and he's bigger. I mean, I think he's different than what we saw in week 1 with Clemson because he actually wants to run the football, and he will be looking for guys to run over. He will be looking for guys to put his shoulder on. I know he got banged up a little bit last week, but there's no way I know a guy like that getting this opportunity will want to miss a game like this on the road in the top 10 environment for his team. So I expect him to play and be ready to go. Obviously, their other receiver on the outside, Traylon Burks, is a big physical receiver on the outside that they do similar to like James Cook, but he's 6'3", 6'4", and can move all around the field. They put him in the backfield. They do him all over the place. He's got 19 catches on the season. The next closest guy has 7. So that tells you what they want to get him the football early and often. So I'm excited about this game. I can't wait to see it kick off, but I'm with you, Z. I think we are too talented. Obviously, Arkansas has had a great season so far with some big wins, 4-0, but I just think we have more depth and are seriously more talented than Arkansas.
Yeah, and I think that depth is going to play a huge factor in this game. You talk about how physical the football game is going to be, and I completely agree with you, Shock. The fact that we have so much depth and we can wear down opposing offenses in physical games, depth is tremendously important. And one guy I don't think Jefferson's going to be looking to run over is Jordan Davis, or maybe Jalen Carter.
No,
the way he played last week.
Forget about it.
Jefferson and JT Daniels, both very effective quarterbacks, but both very different, play a different style of game. Shock, as you pointed out, KG likes to run. JT does not run as much. He's more of a pocket guy, ball distributor, and all of that. Just from a personal standpoint, in your opinion, which style do you prefer? Which style is more successful?
Scott, that's a good question, man, because I think it really comes down to the system you're in. I think it works really well for him in Arkansas system and what they want to do. Obviously, we don't ask JT to do that style of play, but I think it really just determines on which style you're in, which system you're playing in, and how it helps your team. I think in Georgia's standpoint, you don't need JT to do all that because you have so many other different guys who can do that for you. I mean, we can put other guys in the Wildcat, or we got 5 backs, so you don't need another guy to add to the flavor of it. Obviously, it's a big point of emphasis for Arkansas, but he is a weapon for them. He is a guy. Arkansas doesn't have 5 backs like Georgia had. They don't have the multitude of receivers like Georgia has. So they got to kind of find a way to create that explosion with their offense and with their quarterback. But obviously, I love a guy who can move around. I mean, I was a guy who moved around a little bit. So that guy is always dangerous, and defensive coordinators have to account for him at all times. But when you have a guy who can sit in the pocket and dissect everything and know where to go with the football, that's just as important too, and can really hurt you as well. So both styles are great. Both styles are good. Just depends on the system you're in and flourishing in that one.
Yeah, I completely agree with Shock. It really depends on the system you're in. If you had your choice, you would get a guy that can sling it all over the yard and can run. When you find that guy, you get a number 1 draft pick going into the NFL. Is ultimately what you get. So ideally, you'd want somebody to possess both skills. That's a rarity. Very, very rarely do you find somebody that is able to go throw it at a highly efficient level and have legs that can go hurt you, because they're 2 tough skills, right? And so ideally, you'd want somebody to go do both. Based on the offense, I love the way JT Daniels is playing, and I'm sure if you go over to Arkansas, because of the system that they're running, they love the way he's playing the game right now. So long as you fit within the offense, I wasn't ever going to go to a school where they asked me to run, because I would bust out that 5.140. That wasn't going to impress anybody. So I needed
31, Z, get the first down. That's all you need, baby.
That's right. That's right.
Well, Shock brought up last season's game. Georgia won the season opener in the COVID season at Arkansas last year. But do you guys know why Georgia won that game? No, of course you don't, but I'm going to tell you. Because we had a non-offensive touchdown last year. Eric Stokes had a pick 6. Z.
Jinxing us already, Shock. I mean,
I knew it was coming. I saw it was coming. He was itching for it.
Oh my
man,
goodness!
I want to see some of those on Saturday. It's like almost a guaranteed win.
Quit talking about it. No more.
Okay, that means we got to wrap it up.
That's right.
It's Georgia and Arkansas. Saturday at noon Eastern time. We're on the air with you with these guys at 8 a.m. on the Georgia Bulldogs Sports Network. Take you right up to kickoff and way beyond, and we'll tuck you in at night when we finish the broadcast. So we want to see you loud and proud at Sanford Stadium, and we want you to listen to the Bulldog Sports Network. So for Shock and for Z, Georgia and Arkansas on Saturday, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.